Hello, my name is Janet, and at the age of 31, I find myself deeply involved in my family's confectionery business located in Seattle. My journey with the business began in my early teens, as I enthusiastically assisted my parents. Eventually, they entrusted the operations to me and my sister, hoping to retire as they gracefully aged. Living just above the shop, I cherished the independence it provided. Every day at 7:30 a.m., our shop opens its doors, welcoming customers with the delightful scent of freshly brewed coffee and delectable treats. Marilyn, my sister, had a rather peculiar approach to her involvement. She seemed absent during regular tasks, but magically appeared for special events, assuming an air of ownership that irked our parents. Tired of her lack of commitment and frivolous spending, they had to check on the business twice a week, even during their supposed breaks. Marilyn's attitude frustrated me. She was a constant spoilsport. Despite growing up together, our relationship had always been tumultuous. Early memories were filled with incessant bickering, with Marilyn overshadowing me with her accomplishments. As we grew older, the gap between us widened, and our differences multiplied. I yearned for a stronger bond with her, hoping she would see me beyond the role of her little sister. Despite my longing, each attempt to bridge the gap seemed futile. Marilyn's careless actions, such as a disagreement over toys from our childhood, reminded me of the deep-rooted strain between us. Our arguments only intensified, leaving me frustrated with the lack of understanding and connection. I wanted Marilyn to view me as more than a hindrance, someone she could confide in and trust. However, our interactions were often marred by conflicts, making the journey as Marilyn's younger sister a challenging one. "Marilyn, I'm not being mean, I'm just enjoying myself. You should give it a try sometime. There's a clear distinction between having fun and being destructive." "Marilyn, I wish you could understand that. You always present yourself as Little Miss Perfect, and it's irritating. It's not that I want trouble all the time. I just don't want to constantly be on the brink of it. You label me as a scared cat, but maybe you should consider others, not just yourself. What if you damage something dear to me? Well, fine. I'll find someone else to hang out with." Marilyn storms off, leaving me hurt and upset. This dynamic has always been between us. She simply can't stand me, and as we've grown up, it's only gotten worse. It began with her taking my things and bullying me in school. She'd toss my bag or lunchbox, and her attitude continued to deteriorate. My attempts to establish a decent connection always failed. One incident in particular left a lasting mark on my heart. She not only stole my belongings but also managed to take away my fiancé, Andrew. Our relationship was flourishing into something beautiful until Marilyn learned about Andrew. Suddenly, her demeanor changed, and I could sense her jealousy. She couldn't bear the thought of me finding happiness in someone else's arms. Marilyn started sowing seeds of doubt in Andrew's mind about our relationship, whispering poison into his ear. She portrayed me as unworthy of his love and affection. The more she tried to create rifts between us, the more torn I felt between my love for Andrew and my desire to salvage any sisterly connection with Marilyn. I confront her, questioning why she would do something so hurtful. What have I ever done to deserve this betrayal? She dismisses me, saying I always cry and that Andrew was dating a sore loser until now. She claims to be the showstopper in my life, insinuating that I can never have anything good. Despite all the things I've given her, including toys, friends, my room, and even my car, she remains discontent. It's as if she wants my fiancé too. I implore her to stop, but she dismisses me again, criticizing my annoying voice and revealing her bitterness. "I did you a favor by ending things with that guy. He was never meant to be with you anyway. I mean, if he cheats on you that quickly, it's better to call it quits." I vividly recall how it all began through a dating app. On my 27th birthday, my friends urged me to create an account and search for potential partners. Initially, I laughed it off, dismissing dating apps as trash, convinced that only creeps sought soulmates there. However, as I found myself coming home after work, feeling lonely and tired, the thought lingered that maybe giving it a try could be a good idea. One evening in my cozy apartment, I decided to explore the world of dating apps. Little did I know that my life was about to take a turn from the most beautiful to the worst. Initially adjusting to the interface, I soon found myself fully immersed. While scrolling through profiles and swiping left and right, none caught my attention until I stumbled upon Andrew's. His profile picture displayed a warm smile that instantly melted my heart, and his bio radiated humor and kindness. Without hesitation, I swiped right, hoping he'd reciprocate. A few days passed, and just when I was losing hope, I received a notification that made my heart skip a beat. It was a match. Andrew had swiped right too. "Hey there, Janet. How's it going? I'm kind of new to this app, so please bear with me. Oh really? Me too. I just downloaded it a few days back. It's so strange how people get matched here. I'm just glad it's you. I liked your bio and was keen to get to know you. To be honest, I had half expected that we would match. Oh, come on. Don't underestimate yourself so much. Your profile was very striking too, especially where you mentioned only liking cat people. Unfortunately, I have a dog. I hope our communication won't be hindered by the casual exchange we had, sharing glimpses of our lives, hobbies, and interests. It's fascinating that your family operates a bakery. That's incredibly cool, and I can only imagine how delectable the menu must be. You're always welcome to indulge. As our conversation unfolded, we discovered common interests and a shared sense of humor. It's amusing how, as an engineer, people often inquire about the number of bridges I've built. While it used to be a joke, the frequency of such queries has rendered it less humorous over time. Surprisingly, I wasn't aware of the stereotypes surrounding engineering. It's indeed a respectable profession, keeping me quite occupied. However, I admit your job seems more exciting. Waking up to freshly baked pastries every day sounds like a dream. As our dialogue progressed, Andrew suggested meeting in person. Nervous yet excited, I agreed. When he walked into the bakery, searching for my face at the counter, our eyes meeting felt like time had frozen. Greetings were exchanged with a warm side hug, dispelling my nerves instantly. I was relieved he matched his picture. He looked even more attractive in person. My parents were taken aback by me taking the initiative and welcoming Andrew warmly. Whether out of overprotectiveness or genuine care, they stayed during his visit, turning it into an unintentional group date. Subsequent encounters saw us exploring the city, trying new restaurants, attending concerts, and simply reveling in each other's company. Our connection deepened, revealing something truly special. Marilyn, however, failed to appreciate the blossoming relationship. Whenever she saw me with Andrew, she would vocalize her disapproval, making derogatory remarks. It seemed her inclination to publicly demean and mock me persisted, even as our connection with Andrew grew stronger. I confronted Marilyn's aunt with a straightforward approach, expressing my frustration. Marilyn, can you please refrain from creating a scene every time? Your constant commentary is unnecessary. I was merely stating the truth, and it's not conducive to have you making a fuss. You and Andrew were displaying affection like 80s kids swooning over their first candy. If you're concerned about privacy, love hotels are an option. The bakery isn't intended for your honeymoon. And since when did you become so concerned about the bakery? Who was the one extravagantly spending on Chanel? You know that's expensive, and yet you act shamelessly. Marilyn retorted defensively. You're not my mother, and I can do whatever I want. It's not just your shop. I have equal rights to this property. Piss off, sociopath. Exasperated, I responded, Jesus, Mom should have left you somewhere. Our parents were so tired of the constant fighting that they attempted to separate us from an early age. Despite their efforts, we always found a way to annoy each other. There were even fistfights. I know how toxic this sounds, but her behavior was taking a toll on our mental health. I started to resent her, although I felt a pang of regret that any chance of sisterhood was slipping away. To distract myself, I focused on my relationship with Andrew. Andrew, being a successful engineer with a clean portfolio and a well-established home, invited me over. Anxious about meeting his parents, I was apprehensive about their reaction. Andrew's parents, however, welcomed me with a feast, which I found unnecessary as I eat very little. While they engaged in conversation, I struggled to keep up. Despite the initial uneasiness, it turned out to be a great day. However, things took a strange turn when Marilyn began to subtly seduce Andrew. Initially, it was mild gestures like light touches on his shoulders or gentle strokes on his back whenever she had the chance. This continued for a year, and Andrew seemed oblivious or unfazed, which, in hindsight, should have been a red flag. Despite this, I thought he was simply unaware of her actions. Shockingly, he eventually proposed to me. My heart soared as he gracefully descended to one knee, earnestly asking me to be his life partner. Overwhelmed with joy, tears welled up as I joyfully accepted, embracing a rush of happiness and gratitude. However, a nagging sense of uncertainty lingered, questioning whether we were moving too quickly. It seemed as if he, unconcerned, believed we had everything figured out. Amidst these thoughts, Marilyn, seated at the back of the shop's office, nonchalantly indulged in a freshly baked macaroon, oblivious to the fact that it was part of a fresh batch reserved for sale. Upon being reminded of the shop's standards, she dismissively claimed that it wouldn't be noticed, given the daily production. Our conversation took a tense turn as I pointed out the lack of professionalism in deviating from established practices. Marilyn, defiantly defensive, rose abruptly, challenging my authority. She hurled accusations, asserting that I should act more responsibly if I aimed to run the shop competently. Feeling cornered, I retreated from the confrontation, retreating to the bathroom where I shed tears in private. Little did I know that this incident marked the beginning of a tumultuous phase. Marilyn's arrogance escalated, and she began inserting herself into every aspect of our lives. She claimed Andrew as her best brother-in-law, yet her actions betrayed an unsettling possessiveness. I struggled to connect with Andrew amidst Marilyn's constant interference. Her allure, accentuated by her glamorous attire, made me feel inadequate in my simple, casual style. Tensions heightened when we attended a lavish work party on a personal yacht. Unbeknownst to me, Andrew's extravagant lifestyle clashed with my modest preferences. Marilyn, on the other hand, seemed to revel in the opulence, effortlessly blending into the glamorous atmosphere. As Andrew introduced us to his friends, I felt a growing sense of self-consciousness. Marilyn, however, thrived in the social setting, exuding confidence. Overwhelmed by insecurity, I sought solace at the bar, impulsively consuming shots in an attempt to cope with the escalating discomfort. When my legs could no longer support me, I stumbled 5 steps backward and unintentionally collided with someone. Upon turning around, I encountered a tall man donning a black suit and a white tie. He was engrossed in conversation with another woman, a drink in his hand. "Whoa, lady, are you okay?" he inquired. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I'm just a bit buzzed." "I'll be okay," I reassured him. "Are you sure? We can provide some lime juice if you want. It might help with that buzzing head of yours." "That would be really nice, actually. I think I overdid it." He guided me to one of the private compartments, ensuring I was seated comfortably. After a brief wait, a glass of fresh lime juice arrived, offered to me. His name was Peter. He ordered another whiskey for himself, and as we waited, he engaged me in conversation. To my surprise, Peter proved to be genuinely kind and easy to talk to. Laughter and shared stories flowed, revealing common interests. As the night progressed, we continued to enjoy each other's company, and Peter made sure I felt included and cared for. It was as if we had known each other for ages, and the unexpected yet undeniable connection blossomed. As the party drew to a close, my phone rang, and Andrew asked where I was. I quickly excused myself from Peter, providing him with my number upon his request. He smiled, expressing a desire to continue our conversation. Upon rejoining the party, I faced Andrew's anger as he questioned my whereabouts. I apologized, explaining my intoxicated state and desire to avoid embarrassment. Marilyn, who maintained composure throughout, received praise from colleagues. Silent throughout the car ride home, I pondered the mess I had made. Should I tell Andrew about Peter? Fearful of his reaction, I wrestled with the decision. Marilyn's satisfied smirk indicated her pleasure in my misery, and I couldn't fathom the painful turn my life had taken on that sunny afternoon. I decided to surprise Andrew with an impromptu visit to his place, aiming to apologize for my actions at his party. As I approached his front door, my heart swelled with a mix of love and excitement, eager to see the man I believed to be my husband. However, as I drew nearer, I caught hushed voices emanating from inside. Initially dismissing it as casual conversation, perhaps with a friend or his parents, an unsettling feeling crept over me. Ignoring the nagging doubt, I opened the door in anticipation of a warm welcome. To my horror, the scene that unfolded before me was like a devastating blow. In the living room, I witnessed Andrew and Marilyn, my sister, locked in a passionate embrace. Time seemed to stand still as I processed the heart-wrenching sight. Shock gave way to disbelief and then an overwhelming surge of pain and betrayal. I struggled to comprehend what I was witnessing. Though I wanted to confront them, my voice failed me and I felt paralyzed. Finally finding my voice, I managed to choke out their names. They quickly pulled away, Marilyn appearing angry, and Andrew attempting to explain. However, their words fell on deaf ears, as the magnitude of betrayal proved too much to bear. Without hesitation, I uttered what needed to be said and fled from the apartment, tears streaming down my face. Frantically, I called Peter, unable to process the entire situation. Desperate, I pleaded to come over, explaining that I felt like I was going to faint. Peter, a secret confidant, had become a supportive friend, and I knew he would be there for me. After that fateful encounter, I distanced myself from Andrew and Marilyn, entrusting my dad with the shop while I took a break. My bond with Peter deepened, and he took great care of me during this difficult period. Marilyn chose to move in with Andrew, and they appeared content with my absence from their lives. Peter and I endeavored to rebuild our friendship, spending time together to heal and move forward. In a moment of realization, Peter discovered my role as the boss and questioned my decision not to disclose it earlier. I confessed that I had been cautious not to scare him away, as people tend to be wary of those in positions of authority. As we navigated this complex situation, I reassured him that I had been waiting for the right time to share this aspect of my life. I sense an upcoming encounter with them. Recently, I engaged in a thorough conversation with my parents regarding Marilyn. They were profoundly disappointed and repulsed by her behavior, as they had never anticipated her reaching such depths. Consequently, it was decided that I would take charge of the shop. Meanwhile, Peter and I began dating, and it has been 6 months since then. With his birthday approaching, I decided to purchase him a meaningful gift. We considered going to a supermarket for a nice pair of jeans and a shirt. Initially, Peter was hesitant, but he eventually agreed. As we strolled through the streets in search of a suitable store, we unexpectedly spotted 2 familiar faces in the distance, Marilyn and Andrew. They appeared to be embroiled in an argument. As we approached, Marilyn looked at us mockingly, making snide remarks about my presence and Peter's financial status. Ignoring their negativity, I introduced Peter as my soon-to-be husband, revealing our engagement. This revelation left Marilyn and Andrew in shock, and we left them behind, feeling a sense of satisfaction. Following this encounter, my parents insisted that Marilyn should never return to the shop unless she addressed her attitude. Meanwhile, Peter subtly played with Andrew's emotions, keeping him on edge with the threat of termination. Finally, free from their disruptive influence, I could now focus on the shop with the unwavering support of Peter, who brought immense happiness into my life.